Greetings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Left-Over podcast. This episode is sponsored by absolutely nobody, nor should it be, because these are just the pathetic ramblings of a would-be, could-be, shouldn't-be stand-up open micer who's going nowhere at the speed of light. However, I would like to dedicate this show to a gentleman known by most as Mr. Joey Coco Diaz, aka Uncle Joey. Never met the gentleman, however, he did tweet me once or twice, and I do appreciate it. Just to talk about that for a sec, there was a time as an open micer when I was like really debating on whether or not I was going to try to give the LA comedy scene a try, and I had made up my mind. It was like a Thursday night, and I was like, all right, either tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm going to fly out to LA. I'm going to go there Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. If nothing happens, I'm going to come back. I'm going to give up on comedy, which I probably should have done anyway, but that's later on. And so it was like Thursday morning. It was either Wednesday or Thursday morning. I can't remember, but I made my mind I was going to give that a shot because I was just so tired of like, I'm like, I just want it to be over, like this grind of trying to be funny and is it funny enough? Like, but like, I just wanted a definitive crowd just to tell me, hey, you're no good. That's why I need someone. Like, it's like a boxer or something like that. And I'm not talking about like a championship boxer. No. I'm talking about like a journeyman boxer who has like a freaking, 3 wins, 12 losses kind of record. You know what I mean? Like, am I any good? Like, can you just like get like Deontay Wilder just to blast me off into the next, generation or whatever, the next galaxy? I don't know. I'm not good with all that stuff. But anyway, he's done that to plenty of people. But like, I just want to just knock me out or just like give me, you know what I'm saying? Or like, let me get somewhere. You know what I mean? I was proving to myself. Anyway, it was a Wednesday or Thursday. Let's go with Thursday. And I see Joey Diaz had put he had tweeted something. He was like, and it was about another comic. He didn't say who it was, but he just said, this person's telling me that I'm no good at telling jokes, and that's why I'm a storyteller. And then, so I responded to that, and I was like, oh man, if you're a comic that I look up to, and they're saying that you're no good because you're a storyteller, and all I do is tell stories, where does that leave me? I'm like, I'm planning on going out to LA, and I don't know if I can do it. And so like, I didn't think about nothing. I tweeted him before, I wasn't looking for a response. Like a lot of people, there's like 10,000 people that like send him on any given one of his tweets, and I'm talking about the normal tweets when it's just not like something special or whatever, just when it's like morning savages, blah blah blah, like kick off your day, powder your gonads, all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, he wrote me back, and I was shocked. I was astounded. I didn't know what to write back. He pretty much was like, you're afraid to go out to LA? What, you're afraid of being successful? He's like, do me a favor, go out, do an open mic, and get back to me and tell me how you feel. And I remember all I wrote was like, okay. And then I looked down, and there's like 12,000 people have like viewed my okay comment. I'm like, dang, I should have said something more meaningful. I'm like, I don't know how many great quotes there are out there, how many memorable words of wisdom, but like none of them are just okay. Like, and then he said okay, and blah blah blah. That's never a thing. And so I was like, shoot, I had this moment where I could have just said a joke. Because that's all you really want as a comic, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say that that's not, like, that's what everyone wants, but some people, some people just want to be seen, and you get that a lot as open mic, but other people just want to be heard, you know what I mean? And other people just want to be understood, and I'm probably one of the understood part. Like, I don't, just, it's not for me. Like, I know it seems like a really self-serving position. Oh, you just want to get up and talk in front of people. Not really. I just want to make sense of this life that, I'm living in. And like, the joke is almost for me. It's like, is this like am I crazy? Like, is this normal or whatever? And speaking about that, like that's a good portion of the comedy. I think I've mentioned it before, but like out of the open micers, right? I'm gonna say somewhere between 10 to 15% of them are going to have some success. And I'm not even talking about like a Netflix special success. I'm talking about like they're going to get a writer's job for like SNL or some kind of sitcom television show or sketch comedy or whatever. And then another like 35 to 40% are just people that enjoy making people laugh and they don't have any aspirations. Like, they have a good job or they have a decent job, they got a family, and they go out on the weekend, they just want to make people laugh. And then the rest of them is mental illness. And sometimes when you're doing open mic for a while, you're like, what portion am I? Like, what am I doing? Am I trying to make it? Or is this just a hobby? Or am I just mentally ill? Because like you definitely, I don't know if you'll see, like you're like, oh, I used to go to open mics all the time, and I remember when so and so was just a nobody. Look at him now. You might never, ever, ever. You can go to comedy like open mics forever, and you might never, 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 never see someone who's going to be a big name. But I guarantee you're going to see someone with mental illness. It's like there's no way you can't lose. It's like a casino where, you hit the little thing at the slot machine, cha-ching, like mental illness is going, like, like 777, and you like, bingo, you're going to hit a 7. Like you're guaranteed there's going to be someone of some sort of mental illness. You're like, this person is crazy. They're kind of funny, and they're kind of scary. And as a comic, like me personally, I'm like, I'm debating, am I the exception or am I the rule? You know what I mean? As far as that. And so when he wrote me back, it meant a lot because it meant like, it made it real. It made like I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe I can do this or whatever. But anyway, I chickened out, right? I didn't fly out to LA that night. But what I did do, I went to like a big time open mic that night. Usually there's like little ones that you can do or whatever, and then there's like big ones that work with like companies like the Improv and stuff like that. And any city you go to, I think there's like an Improv there, like the Atlanta Improv, the DC Improv, New York Improv, like LA Improv, Chicago Improv, the Improv, right? And so I knew like I had performed with some of these people before. There were bigger names. Oh yeah, he does guest spots at the Improv all the time, or he opens for so and so. Like, but I performed with these guys at like littler venues, right? And so I go into this spot. It's over in Georgetown, but like everyone in there is a killer, quote unquote killer, as far as like these are comics that like they have like either IMBD profiles, like they're big names. I've seen them before. I've been on stage before. I followed them before. I went on before them before. But like now I've never been surrounded by all of them at the same time. So I go in, and traditional open mic is like this. Like you go in, there's a sign up sheet, and depending on how late the show goes, you may or may not get bumped. Bumped is just like, like, we ran out of time, we can't put you on, blah, blah, blah. And like, if you're there, the earlier you get, the better chance you get on. Like, first come, first serve. You sign up first, you go on first. Side note, a little thing that a lot of comics do when they're nervous is like, you might get there first, right? And when you get there first, sometimes you don't want to go on first. So you'll get there first, but you'll put your name at like number 5 or something like that. I've done that several times. For me, if I feel like doing that, I know that I didn't prepare myself enough or whatever. So I try not to do that. Sometimes I force myself to just like, oh, I'm here first. Boom, put yourself first. Like that's how it should be. Like if you believe in your material, you do that. And that's probably one of the biggest indicators that I don't believe in my material. If I go somewhere and there's no one signed up, I'm like, oh, I'm so afraid to put my name up first. But in either case, I'm not in LA, right? But I still feel like responsible. Like I feel like obligated to write them back. So I go to this open mic. This is like instead of going to LA, right? But it's like, so I'm surrounded by all these like bigger name comics or whatever from the area. And I go in to sign. I ask them like, hey, where's the sign up sheet? So we don't really have a sign up sheet. He's like, where's your people though? I said, what people? They're like, your crowd. Like, and I'm like, I don't have a crowd. He's like, well, you need like 3 to 5 people to get on here. And that's like the money aspect. Like, an open mic, they call open mic and it's free or whatever, usually because the comedy's awful. But it's actually it's a free show, but not really, because you bring in 3 to 5 people and like there's usually like a 2-drink minimum. Each drink's like $11. So you're looking at what, like for a first round, that's like $55, right? And then, 2-round minimum. So you're looking at $110, per comic that goes in. So like each comic, if there's 10 comics, they're bringing in the company or the place establishment like $1,000 over. You know what I mean? So that's the part. He's like, well, we'll see if we can get you on. And I knew like as soon as I saw that, like people are bringing in like 10 people and like 15 people and all kinds of stuff. So it's like I'm like, all right, I'm not getting on. So I already knew I was getting bumped. He's like, well, if there's room, we'll put you on. But I knew I wasn't getting on. So I just write back, Mr. Diaz. I'm like, hey, I went out to an open mic. I didn't say where. I didn't say I chickened out on going to LA. So I'm just doing a local show and I get bumped or whatever. And I just told him like, I don't think this is my crowd. I'm not getting on. And he basically, I'm paraphrasing. He was basically like, yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Good luck or whatever. And that was pretty much my extent of my interaction with Joey Diaz. And but I do appreciate that moment has stuck with me a lot, just to get through, especially when I'm watching this podcast. I always try to make an effort when he comes out to DC to show him love, go to the show. I saw one a couple months back. It was awesome just to see him. That was my first show of seeing him like so close up. You know what I mean? That was like, I think I was like in 3rd row or something like that or whatever. It was good stuff, and just seeing his presence or whatever. So I look up to him. I'm not a butt kisser or anything like that, but just thank you, Mr. Diaz. All right, and I got that out the way. Like I said, this podcast, it's not even really a podcast. It's just me talking into a microphone in my basement, nobody around, and I put up on YouTube. It's not really a podcast. I don't even like the term podcast. A podcast is just people talking. It's like radio, but without the freaking advertisements, and sometimes with the advertisements. So, like I said, this episode is not sponsored by anybody, and it shouldn't be. But anyway, this is the Left-Overz. So what's it about? I can't really tell you. All I know is as a comic, there's a lot of ideas that you put out, and some of them get on the chopping block, right? And I'm not going out and doing the comedy as seriously as I should be. Like, you should be out every night, 3-4 sets a night, various places, blah, 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 putting in that work. I'm barely doing the minimum. I'm doing like 2 sets a week, whatever. But I still have this pile up of ideas, and a lot of them are awful. Just like complete garbage, belong in the freaking, like they should be floating somewhere around the mid-Atlantic or wherever that big freaking sea of bottles are. You know what I mean? Like my ideas are pollution to the planet in a sense. But I still have them. You know what I mean? And they're not all good. And one of the things that keeps me from going on stage all the time is like, I don't believe enough in my material. I'm like, I don't, because I don't know about everybody, but like for me, the ideas that I want to share or I want to express are things that I stand behind, things that I really believe. So I'm like, it's a level of vulnerability, and you got to deliver yourselves out to the wolves, and some of them take a bite out of you, some just sniff around you or whatever. But like some people get it, some people don't. Sometimes leave you alone. But like I gotta share the ideas, you know what I mean, and bringing yourself to that place, that funny place, because I think you can make anything funny. You can find a funny place in almost anything, maybe everything. But it's not the thing for everybody. You know what I mean? I can't make a joke about everything, but I think everything can be funny. Like some jokes aren't for me, just like some jokes aren't for you. I look at comedy a lot like singing. Like most people can sing unless you're like mute or whatever, have like some kind of like speech thing or like some incapability of talking. You can sing. You might not be able to carry a note that well, but you can sing. And that's why we have shows like American Idol and whatever else, like, all these music competition shows, because the comic is a lot like the singer, right? And the audience is the same either way. The audience is capable of doing what the comic does. The audience is capable of doing what the singer does, and they can critique the singer even if they can't sing as well or they're not as funny as the comic. They can like, hey, I can't carry a note, but you suck. Like, you suck at music. The same thing goes for comedy. It's like, hey, I'm not good at telling jokes and getting in front of a lot of people, but your jokes are trash, dude. Like, you know what I mean? And so you're expressing that, right? And like you got singers that are like, well, what do you know? You can't sing. And they're like, yeah, I can't sing, but I can tell. I have ears. You know what I mean? And same thing with the comedy crowd. Like, you might not be a funny joke teller or whatever, but you got ears. You can tell what's what. And so with that, like, I consider myself to probably be my biggest critic. Like, if someone's out there, this podcast sucks. I'm like, dude, I'm right beside you. I agree 100%. I actually agree more than you. Like, I'm my own biggest critic when it comes to that. But like, I call this the Left-Overz because I'm just trying to like weed away all my leftover material, like all the half-baked ideas. It's a lot like Leftovers. It's like there's no extra ingredients. There's just like, hey, this is what I got in the fridge. This is like, it's been sitting there for a while. It's a little moldy, but I'm putting it out there so I can get rid of it. I don't like to waste food, and I don't like to waste jokes. So with that said, I'm just going to try to talk about a couple of my leftovers. So if you don't like Leftovers, this is the time to leave. This is the disclaimer. Everything I say you may not like, but everything I say I believe in, which is scary. It's really scary. And so speaking of scared, I want to talk about being scared a little bit. We live in America, some of us. Some of us just live in North America. But anyway, wherever you're at, like, in America, aka USA. I'm sorry, Canadians. But like, in America, we pride ourselves on being the land of the free, the home of the brave. And that's one of the unfortunate things, because we're in a time where we're fighting a war on terrorism, which is, I don't even know exactly what the war is. I know it's on terror. Like, terror is such a big war to conquer. I mean, shoot, that's a different one. You can't really beat that one. I don't know. Like, not in the grander sense. You can beat a terrorist, but you can't beat terror itself. And one of the drawbacks to it is, like, we're a country that likes to be scared in some sense. Maybe not in like we like our scared compartmentalized. We like our scared in small doses. That's why if you look at like movies and stuff, like scary action-packed movies, we like guns and we like being scared, and we like scared people with guns. And some of us are actually scared people with guns. If you look at any kind of situation, like a lot of civil unrest that we have here in our own country, it always involves like, I feared for my life, or things that we do out of fear, like killing out of fear, this fear, enabling fear and stuff like that. And we're the home of the brave. I'm not going to bash on it or whatever, but like, I know scary movies, just to look at it, the scary movies part, like, we like scary, whether it's like extraterrestrial aliens coming from another planet and invading. We like that kind of scary. We like paranormal, like, otherworldly kind of scary, like the afterlife kind of scary, like mummy movies, the undead, zombie type stuff. Like, and when I look at it, I think from a subconscious level, I think there's a part of us that enjoys the scary. And when I look deeper at, just say zombies, for example, I try to break it down. I'm like, what is a zombie really? I'm like, well, it looks like a human, right? And it was a human, and it's a hungry human thing trying to eat other humans. And I'm like, wait a second, is this just really a another statement that's being made? Like, are we subconsciously just scared of hungry people? Like people that want to eat? I mean, what's the difference between someone wanting to eat your brains and someone just wanting to eat your grains? You know what I mean? Like there's something there, I think, and that's something that I've been trying to work on, like, and kind of flesh out that idea, no pun intended. As far as it's like because there's certain tropes or certain there's certain storylines that always zombies have, like all zombie movies. It's never just like, okay, the zombies are there and we built this like wall or whatever to keep them out. The zombies can't get in. A zombie always gets in and it terrorizes the town, and it's like it's always or like someone who's not really a zombie, who just maybe got bit by a zombie, they're still alive, and they're like, we can't let you in because we let you in, more are going to get in. So it's the same thing. I mean, it stands a lot more for the illegal immigrant issue than it does about the actual undead. It's about hungry people and you wanting to keep the hungry people out, and you're afraid of what the hungry people might bring with them. And in the case of a zombie movie, they're infected with the zombie disease, and if you let them in, they're gonna take over the whole population. In the sense of immigration, if you let one in, they might, but like, well, I'm not a zombie. You're like, yeah, but if we let you in, you might turn into a zombie, aka you might turn into a criminal, and we're trying to keep the criminal population down, and we don't want criminals coming over. So it's just a big mess, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking at it from. That's what I look at zombies, and the scary part about that. But another thing is, like, I was big, like, just outer space. You know what I mean? Like I was telling you, terror movies and stuff, like scary. Like, we're always scared of like aliens. You know what I mean? And like there's always some kind of ominous alien from another planet coming down and destruction. You know what I mean? And I was a big Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson's reboot of Cosmos. I watched both the original with Carl Sagan, and I watched the Neil deGrasse Tyson one. I like Stephen Hawking. I like all the kind of stuff. Michio Kaku with all the kind of cool stuff that you get to see with, astrophysics and whatever have you. And sometimes it's like I said, with the population and how the political climate is right now, with all the terror talk, you know what I mean? I'm like, of course there's aliens out there. Of course there's other planets. But I'm like, what's the point of like even caring if there's life on other planets and other like alien species if we don't even treat the aliens we have here any good? You know what I mean? I'm like, we got aliens right here. We have aliens among us. And on the grand scale, we don't want them here. You know what I mean? And we're bordered by land. It's not even extraterrestrial. Like, we're on the same planet. Not even on the same planet. We're on the same landmass. You know what I mean? And when you look at a map of the United States, you know, I'm talking about the one that's like all cut out and it's just the map. It looks like some kind of like a toddler's drawing of like a brontosaurus. You have that long leg in the front, like that's Florida, and you go in, it's like has like this weird deformed neck, like up towards like the whole New York and above like to North America part, and then it's like and you have that like little tiny leg that's over by Texas, the bottom of Texas, and then there's some like little weird freaky tail over in California. It's like right at the top. It's like a 4-year-old's drawing or whatever. Like, draw me a brontosaurus, like America, like that kind of thing. And when you look at our country, right? If you didn't know any better and you didn't know a map of the continent, you'd think that America's like a little island. And that's one of the things I think about a lot is like island living, like being on an island. And each individual person is their own island, and we make treaties on who can come to our island, who's not allowed on our island. But we can't forget that there's a bigger continent, right? That's just us in general. Like, Like, that's why I'm not a big fan of getting into like a whole lot of hate. A little hate, a little dislike, okay. But hate, I'm not big in hate, because if I'm on an island, say there's 20 people on that island, I don't want to kill anyone or like hate them so bad, because like if I kill them, if I kill everybody I don't like, then I'm going to be on that island lonely. Like, there's always going to be an argument. So like being able to work past our arguments, and that's why I think war is one big argument. You know what I mean? And people have decided that their stance on their argument is so important that they're willing to die to be right. And there's very few things that I'm so opposed to that I'm willing to die for. There's very few. There's some. I got some, but they're not that many. You know what I mean? And so I'm very careful on what I wage war on and stuff. And like I said, like I just wish we could get along and do this like lovey-dovey, we're all in this together thing, but we can't. You know, and that's probably just a what do you call it? A side effect of my environment. Like I grew up with shows like Captain Planet, where they had like, people from every ethnic group. When our powers combine, we are, Captain Planet, and like the Power Rangers, and they all this multicultural accepting stuff, and then, I just this belief that we're in this like post-racial world, and then you see it. Like I think race is one of the stupidest things, like race arguments. Like I have no problem entertaining a racist at all. But entertaining racism, I can't. Like this, and I think a lot of it comes from our feelings. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to share this one with a lot of people, and I've been always trying to like work on it and stuff. But like, I think about babies, right? And I think about our countries as babies, and they grow a little older, and sometimes we think that we're like a teenager when we're really toddlers, or we think that we're fully grown when we're just teenagers and stuff. And I think America is in this weird time where we definitely were babies. Like slavery, come on, that's like so archaic. It's such a baby move. Like you want something done, hey, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it myself, so I'm going to take you from there, and you're going to do this, and this is my land, this is not your land, and blah, blah. It's like, it's so babyish. If you look at, like, this just a bunch of babies. And one thing I know about babies are animals, but not all animals are babies. Like, every animal species that you can think of has a baby form, I think. Right, just about, unless you're talking like amoebas or whatever. But like, you have like a baby cat is a kitten, or a baby canine is a puppy, or a baby like a giraffe or a cow or whatever is a calf. You know what I mean? The baby version of human lasts a lot longer than the baby version of a lot of other animals. Like a lot of other animals, like a freaking wildebeest, boom, pops out, it's running. You know what I mean? A baby, like, you're looking at 8-9 months. You know what I mean? Before you, like, some people are like, oh, my babies were walking at 3 weeks old. I mean, congratulations. You know what I mean? I guess he's going out to get a job or something, or running a marathon. Who knows? But the baby part, like, and the one thing I know about babies is that they need nurturing, whether it's a baby calf or a baby human. Like, they need nurturing, and we need to be caring, and how babies react to stuff, and how babies want things. You know what I mean? And the desire, and as the baby gets older, it learns how to ask for other things. And so, like, if everybody needs to be nurtured, right, and everybody at their heart is a baby, and we still have those things, how we act out. Like, you tell if someone's acting like a big baby. Like, the arguments that they have. The stuff that, I want it this way, and I don't want any other way. That's like a baby. And I consider, when it gets violent and aggressive, I consider that a big baby, right? And a big baby I would consider a toddler. And there's a whole lot of toddlers going around. There's a whole lot of, especially with terrorism. Like, come on, man. Why are you going to intentionally throw things? You know what I mean? Why are you going to do stuff on purpose? Like, why are you going to mess up people's day? You know what I mean? Whether it's like a serial killer or some kind of domestic terrorism or like foreign terrorism. Come on, like, why are you trying to ruin someone's day for no reason? It's like a big baby move with like really big consequences that you're not thinking about. You know what I mean? Like, so just be careful. I know that they even said our president currently is a big baby. You know, there was a whole thing where someone made some giant balloon image of the president of the president as a giant baby with a diaper on. They're like, this is to signify that our president is a giant baby. I'm like, well, babies like balloons, and you made a freaking giant balloon. Maybe you're a little bit of a baby. Maybe we're all babies. Like I'm saying, I consider I'm a baby. I'm a baby with a beard. You know what I mean? And just the term, nobody wants to be called a baby. Most of the time. I mean, sometimes it's just a word, but like some people like the word baby. Like for instance, if you're with your significant other, someone you care about, and you might call them baby, right? And they might be into it. But if you go up to a random stranger and you're like, hey baby, and they find it condescending or they're not into that, you know what I mean? And they might even find it disrespectful. Same word, baby, different connotation. Same thing with like if you're playing a sport, right? If the clock's running out and you have to score, you pass it off to somebody, you pass off the ball or whatever the heck it is to make the point to score, and the person makes the point. You're like, yes, right, baby, you go, baby. They like that. We like that. That's the sign of approval. But if you tell that same person, if you're losing, you're like, hey, you're acting like a big baby. Nobody likes that kind of baby. It's a different kind of baby. So looking at humans as babies is one thing. Anyway, that's what I was getting at. But anyway, that's another one of my leftovers. I'm not going to bore you with anything else, I don't think. Let me see. Was there any other kind of leftover as far as political climate? Blah, blah. I mean, that's it. There's another thing that's kind of on my mind too, like Eddie Izzard. You know, Eddie Izzard, famous comic, openly transgender, and a lot of nuances to it. Like, and I actually appreciate Eddie Izzard a lot because Eddie Izzard is free to express what they are. I'm trying my best not to say he or she or whatever, but like, you know, Eddie Izzard is finds themselves to be someone who's interested in women, who was born genetically a man, and I know he's running for. See, I messed up. I know come on, man, you're making me speak Ebonics over here. Eddie Izzard is running for political office in the UK. And I don't know all of his stance and everything he, is running for, but I know that one of the things on Eddie Izzard's list is same-sex bathrooms. And personally, I think it's a mistake. I think that same-sex bathrooms are a mistake. It takes away, not for any other reason, not for any self-serving reason. I'm just saying it takes away the mystique of the restroom experience. You're going out to eat with someone of the opposite sex. They're like, excuse me, I'm going to go use the restroom. Or back in the day, we'd be like, oh, I'm going to go powder my nose, da-da-da. Like, we shouldn't know what the other person is doing in there. That's a very private and sacred thing. I don't even like going in there. You know what I mean? I don't even like going into one-sex bathrooms. Forget same-sex bathrooms. I don't even like going to the bathroom of people of the same sex. You know what I mean? And the nuances of that, it's already a horror show in the men's restroom is what I'm saying. We don't need to subject everybody to that. It's slippery. I mean, it's not safe. And to go on to that point where Eddie Izzard talks about, he's like I get that part. Okay, same set. All right, I might be able to come along. But then he's talking about getting rid of urinals. They're an unnecessary thing. They only serve one gender, and so we should just make them all toilets. Eddie, you do not want that issue. I'm telling you. Like, come on, dude. Like, I mean, shoot, I messed up now. I mean, Eddie, like, you know the chaos that a man does to the toilet seat. People at all their home. That's why you don't like people. Like, you know, it's scary to have people. I don't understand how people can have people over to the restroom. They usually point them to the guest restroom. If you want to mess that thing up, go ahead. Like, you need a freaking fireman hose after what happens in there. You know what I mean? And so, like, I wouldn't want to subject everyone to that. You know what I mean? I mean, the urinal has its place. The urinal is there for people that don't have the best aim. Now, you're going to take away that, and then you're going to have... Oh, come on. That's about it. That's all I got. This has been a embarrassing episode of The Left-Overs. Thank you for listening. I do apologize, and I hope to see you next time. Or not. Probably not. Probably in your best interest never to watch this again. Thank you. Hasta luego.